Hello, Starshine. This is Smadar from Song of Stones. And those of you who know me know that I am a crystal whisperer, which means that I talk to stones and they talk to me. And these beautiful beings were whispering a lovely message to me today that I wanted to share with you. And they are not the crystals I planned on speaking about today, but they're the ones who are singing today. So I'm honoring that. And I'll tell you about the other crystals next time. So these guys are fairy quartz crystals. And we've been talking a little bit about amethyst and citrine crystals lately, and these guys have a bit of a mix. They're a little bit like spirit quartz, except the crystals, if you're familiar with spirit quartz, they're amethyst crystals with big druzy crystals all the way around them. These guys have tiny, tiny little druzies around them, so they sparkle a little bit more. And they are, depending on the crystal, but they are generally longer and more slender than the spirit quartz. And they definitely have a different energy than the spirit quartz. They're a little bit more fun and playful. They do invite the fairies in and expect them to be present when you're working with these beautiful beings. But the fairies are not really why I am here to talk to you today. And I was honestly a little surprised at the crystal that was whispering, because I was opening up my heart to the holiday of Thanksgiving. And tomorrow is the Canadian Thanksgiving. I know the American one is next month. And I don't know if other countries have a similar kind of holiday. But I thought, since it's the holiday of Thanksgiving, let's talk a little bit about appreciation and gratitude. I prefer the word appreciation. They can be used synonymously, but I feel like they're a little bit different in their meaning. You know what? I'm not going to get into my idea of what the two are, because it doesn't really matter for what we're talking about today. One day maybe I will. But for today, we're just talking about bringing in that thankfulness for whatever it is that we have in our lives. And there is always, always, always something that we can look for, that we can look to in appreciation. It's not always easy, and I'm not going to say that it isn't. There's a lot of people going through a lot of stuff, and sometimes it's really hard to see anything that that we can appreciate. It's life can be challenging that way for a lot of people, and it's especially for those people, it's especially during those times that we need to bring that energy of appreciation in. Because, we just need some light in our lives. And we need some brightness and joyfulness wherever we can find it. And the more that we look for it in our lives, the more that we attract it. Don't ask me why, it's just the way it is. And call it the law of attraction if you want. But there is something to be said, and scientifically, there's something to be said about that. From a scientific point of view, the brain has what's called a reticular activating system, and basically what it does is it filters out, because if we were to focus on everything that is going on around us, we would be quickly overwhelmed. There is so much information coming at us from all different angles and in all different ways. And our body has this brilliant way of filtering out what it is that's important to us. And we tell our bodies what's important through our words, through our actions, through our emotions. And when we tell our bodies that, the world sucks and everything's horrible, our brain is going to start looking for proof of that and looking for the experience of that, for the examples of that. So why not tell it to look for the good things? Even though there are difficulties that we're dealing with, we can still look for the good. We can always look for the good. That's something that we have the ability to do, and no matter what our situation is, and it's something that can make the difficulties easier. So it's a win-win, really. And so these crystals can help us with that. They can help us to look for the good, to look for the joy, to look for the light. And they can help us to see all those things inside of ourselves as well. Because it's not only about looking for that beautiful goodness outside of ourselves. It's important that we honor the beautiful light, goodness, joyfulness from within. And so these guys happen to be, I have a nice big beautiful jar filled with, let me see if I can show you, filled with beautiful crystals, beautiful fairy quartz crystals. And I went through every single crystal because the crystals that we're singing were singers. And if you don't know what singers are, they are crystals that when gently tapped together produce a beautiful tinkling sound. It's almost like glasses tinkling together if you ever make a toast. But it's a little more musical than that. And the singing crystals are rare to find, and I found 3 of them. And they told me that the singers were the ones that wanted to be shared today. And I don't know why yet. I don't know why they were singing crystals. There must be a reason, and maybe it'll reveal itself while I'm talking to you, or maybe later. It doesn't matter. I'm going to be sharing a Sunday Sparkle with you about these, which is our newsletter, and I'm going to do a blog post about these crystals. So if it doesn't come out now, it will by then, I'm sure. And if not, that's okay too. So let me see if I can let you hear the sound a little bit. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it enough, but they do have a bit of a lighter sound to them. There you go. And you might not be able to hear it, but maybe you'll trust me that they are singing. And I love these beautiful ones that are singers, because usually we think of singers as like the one in the center, long and slender and tapered. Actually, even the one in the center is a bit of more of a tabby. It's a flatter. It's not as long and slender. If you think of a needle-like, that's usually what the singers are. Part of it is their shape, but it's not only, because I've had big fat crystals, and I've had crystals like these, which are tabular, and I've had these guys. One of them is really a cluster, two main ones and some little ones at the side. So keep an open mind when you're listening for singers. They might not be the typical, stereotypical ones. They could be, any crystal can be a singer, really. So it's not just about their shape. I always thought it was. I always thought it's just the shape causes that singing sound, but it's not. So, so this is my invitation to you guys today. I invite you to look for the light, for the joy, for the blessing, for the gifts, for the songs, anything that brings lightness to the heaviness of life. Anything that shifts us out of looking for, well, let me rephrase, anything that shifts us into looking for the light. Any reminder of the goodness of life, so that we can invite more of that goodness in. And maybe that's why it's the singers that came forth, because their sound really cuts through the noise. It's just, and when I say noise, I'm not just talking about audible noise, I'm talking about the energetic noise. There's something that perks us up, that causes us to listen more deeply. And that might just be it. It's to listen more deeply. It's to listen to that song that is not what we're expecting. That might not be loud. We might have to listen. We might have to really get quiet and perk up our ears and listen for that tinkling. Kind of like the way we have to be, we can't always see the fairies. The fairies are there and we often don't see them. And it's only because we're not opening our eyes fully. And maybe that's what it is. It's about opening our eyes and opening our ears to the things that are not so loud, that, all the joys and wonders and gifts that the world has to give us. that are not so loud, that we have to really focus our attention on hearing and seeing. And that is also a gift. That's the gift that we're given. That we're given when we come into this world of sensation. That it's possible to be open to these things. And we have those gifts. And we just need to remember, and these crystals can remind us. They can show us how. And they show us with their mere presence, because we look at them and there's joy in our hearts, because they're so sweet and beautiful and sparkly. So that's my invitation to you. Open your eyes and open your ears to the invisible things, to the things that are sometimes hard to see, so that we can bring a level of appreciation into our day-to-day, into our moment-to-moment. Not just on one day of the year, but every day of the year. Every minute of every day. And then we'll be transformed. And then the world will transform. Don't forget, our Crystal Live is coming up. I believe it's tomorrow. I'll make a note of that in our newsletter. And if you're watching the recording and it's already passed, there's always another one coming up. We do it every month. And we get together and we listen together and we appreciate together. And it's a really lovely experience, and you're invited to come. Sign up to the newsletter and you'll get the invitations. And in the meantime, happy Thanksgiving to those who celebrate, and whenever you do celebrate. And I will see you soon. Lots of love, my friends.